Ready to go to prison?
Let me out! I didn't do it! I was framed, I swear!
We are at the Old Montana Prison and Auto Museum in Deer Lodge, Montana this morning. Hey YouTubers, Becky here, rolling with the Davises. Welcome to part 2 of our Old Montana prison videos. In part 1, we saw the trains and toured the automobile collection. In this video, we're going to show you the other museums that are included with the price of your ticket, including the prison itself. Ready to go to prison?
Have fun, guys.
We are at Prison Tour Stop 1, which is this foundation. What year was it built, Dave?
The first convict was here July 2nd, 1871.
So we're talking from the 1870s. This was the original prison damaged by an earthquake and torn down in... So it was damaged by the earthquake in 1959.
If you want, I'll read it. An enormous red brick cell house with rounded towers loomed over the city of Deer Lodge until 1959, when it was damaged by an earthquake and torn down. In 1960, this slab was poured as a foundation for a gymnasium and classroom buildings. Both buildings were later moved to the new prison.
So this is talking about how the original structure was log, but in 1896 they decided to build a brick building because of fire safety. And it was actually built by the prisoners, the inmates, and they made their own brick. This was the building that was torn down in 1959 after the earthquake. The oldest existing structure is the sandstone wall that we see here. This stone wall replaced a board fence that had become rotten and hard to repair in 1893. Don't shoot, don't shoot, I have permission, I swear. So back in the day, if a convict crossed that line, they were shot from the tower. So this is Tower 7, which in 1911 became the main entrance to the prison. They would actually lower a key from the top. There's a ladder over here, but we can't go up it. To your right, Dave.
Yeah,
that's how you got to the top of the tower. Okay, the next stop on the tour is the administration building. This building replaced the original building in 1931. And as you walk through this section, you start to see some artifacts from the prison. There's a display of arts and crafts created by some of the prisoners, including some pretty decent paintings. And here we begin to see information about the prison riot here at the Montana prison that occurred on April 16th, 1959. They've got a lot of information on the warden and the other administration that was there at the time. There's a timeline of when and where the events occurred. Behind these bars, it talks about the instigators and some of the different items that were around. There's the prison psychologist negotiator that was captured. And here is the rocket launcher that was the final blow that ended the insurrection. And here is a display case of contraband that was collected over time within the prison. Some of this might even have been used during the riot. Oh, there's a grappling iron.
Oh, yeah.
It was used in an attempt to scale a wall. Items used to plan an escape to Canada. A rope made out of toilet paper. Tour stop number 6 is the close custody visiting room. Tour stops number 7 and 8 encompass the administrative end of the prison. This is where the secretaries worked, where prisoners were received. There's also medical office. The deputy warden's office was here. In fact, in 1959 riot, the deputy warden was killed in his office. For security reasons, the warden's office was across the street. So these were the isolation cells. Noisy. So I guess they were kept here, but taken out here for...
The shower's right here, and then the bathroom.
Gotcha. Right. Oh yeah, there's a shower. Okay, so they would have been taken here to the bathroom. So here we have more isolation. It's not very well lit. There's no lighting here, but more isolation. Can I say that word? Cells for the very difficult prisoners, but they did have their own exercise yard out here. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Prison life of the 1960s. 4th of July, activities on the holidays.
They made mattresses here.
And they actually made license plates too.
It's not just a joke. Shoe shop. You know, the irony of it, though, is that you're giving them access to things to make weapons by having them make the license plates. And we know it was an issue.
Right. The shanks and stuff we've seen were leftovers or little pieces of scrap they could grab.
Yep. Of course, they were supposed to probably be searched. But so where the prison life exhibit is the building where they made the license plates, and it was also the hospital. And right outside of that is the recreational field where they played baseball.
Facility in its day, cell had running water, flush toilets, and good ventilation. The cell house contained 8 galleries, 4 per side. Each gallery held 25 cells for a total of 200 cells. Single confinement to a cell was common practice during the era.
How many cells, Dave?
200. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100 on this side and 100 on the other side.
Now, does it say 1 or 2 per cell, Dave? Oh, 2 per cell. 2 per cell. Looks like they did have storage cabinets. What are you trying to do?
That's how you shut the cell doors.
Okay. Oh, show me.
Well,
Don't do it.
So it's not like The Rock with Sean Connery, where he could flip his mattress around. You have to unlock this, and then that moves all the doors at once. I don't know how they unlock the signal.
So Turkey Pete was a prisoner that was put in charge of the turkey flock due to his good behavior. And somehow reality slipped away from him, and one day he sold the entire flock to somebody that admired it for 25 cents a piece. Ended his farming days. And apparently he had some instability issues, but he was humored by the administration and was even given checks from the print shop.
Ethner Enterprises Incorporated. There was his checks.
So this area that's enclosed here with the mesh was used for new prisoners and also any prisoner that needed to be protected from other inmates. The mesh kept them separate from anyone that might create problems. The new prisoners were kept here. They were called fish. They were kept here until they became accustomed to prison life. They were required to shower twice weekly. This is the former bakery turned chapel. They've got a voting thing going on right now, People's Choice Awards for the artwork. Over here is a gun port that they could use, I guess, to try to keep the prisoners under control. That was accessed from the tower. So these were the showers that they started using in 1962. The guards controlled the temperature, and also there's a box hanging on the wall back here. Careful where I step. With gun ports. So this was known as the hole. This is where they put inmates that could control in no other way, and they were actually fed bread and water twice a day. Your only light came through this hole in the door. After 3 days, they were given a hot meal. Here we've got the Montana Law Enforcement Memorial. The brochure we have says it was open by appointment, but it was open to the public the day we were here.
The visible damage to the northwest corner tower of the cell house occurred when a bazooka was fired at it by the National Guard to stun rioting inmates during a successful rescue of 23 hostages.
This was from the 1959 riot that we talked about earlier. We saw that there had been women imprisoned here. Within these walls is the actual women's prison, and then it was also used as a maximum security unit. So this was used for maximum security, and the women were moved out after the riots in 1959. Let's take a look inside. Built in 1907. So they did not have a separate exercise yard, so they very rarely left the building. They did not have bathrooms in their cells. They had to use the bathroom upstairs.
Yeah, Ben's were in a women's prison.
Let me out. I didn't do it. I was framed, I swear.
There was no frame about it.
So these two cells here were the isolation cells in this area, or to protect inmates from suicide. You can see there's a sidebar here. Hopefully you can see it. They would be handcuffed to that bar. Hard to see. Again, bread and water, hot meal every 3 days. These were the cells that were known as the black box. They were kept in total darkness. So basically, this is part of the dining room here and over there. This tunnel was provided for an armed guard. They had unarmed guards in the dining room, but this tunnel was for an armed guard. And of course, this door kept his armament away from the prisoners. So this was his tunnel. Okay, on further study, we found out that this door here was cut in 2002 for public access, just for the tour.
The tunnel provided secure access to the catwalks around both the 1912 cell house and the 1896 cell house. Armed guards patrolled the catwalks during the 59 riot. The catwalk security was breached. The security of the tunnel was never breached. So it says it took the contractor 3 times longer to cut this hole in than he anticipated.
It's very thick walls. I'm walking up this tunnel.
this right here would have been the way to get to the shower. One of them steps across the dining room, and then that was the shower.
Right. That's the access to the walkway from earlier to get to the shower, and also for the gun ports in the... So this would have also been the gun ports in the dining room.
Right here is one of them. There's still one intact.
This is the hole.
Yeah, I have a
Oh,
feeling.
not the hole.
I have a feeling part of this is missing. So
The chapel. This is the...
that was it. I could put the rifles through.
This was the gun port that we were seeing from the other side when we were in the chapel. So they accessed that through this tunnel. So this door and this ladder system here gave you access to the gun ports in the dining room. I mean, here. So this is the canteen where the inmates could buy certain things, cigarettes, shaving cream, that kind of thing. They say there's some patches that you could see where they actually broke into it at different times. Let's see. My eye doesn't see anything that was deliberately patched. But, and then this building is the theater. You said boxing matches and religious things.
The 600-seat theater was used for a variety of events, including boxing, traveling theater troops, movies, plays, concerts, meetings, prison band performances, and religious services. It was gutted by fire in 1975, deliberately set, but no suspects ever charged.
This is what's known as the Sally Port. It's the only vehicle entrance into the prison. See, it's two doors. The vehicle would have been stopped and searched on the way in and stopped and searched on the way out. As Dave was saying, they did have an I-beam that's still in place over there that they could block.
Keep a car from busting through the second set of doors.
Absolutely. As I hope you could tell, we thoroughly enjoyed the prison museum. Learned a lot. It was great, kind of interactive. You get to tour it yourself, but there's a fantastic guide that you take with you. Has a description of all the stops. When we got done here, we stopped at the Caffeination Cafe across the street and had a nice little lunch. We split a sandwich, which was great, and then moved on to the other museums, which were included in the price of our ticket. The next museum we did was called Yesterday's Playthings, and it's a toy museum. We weren't too impressed. The dolls kind of creeped us out, and then we found the train station and the toy trains.
Last split, 1883 to 1983.
Then we moved on to the Montana Frontier Museum. This was more to our liking. There is a small World War II museum contained within the Frontier Museum. And then we moved on to the Powell County Museum, which concentrated more on local history. If that piano could talk, exactly. I'm only showing a small portion of the Frontier and Powell County Museums. It was a little dark in there in most places, a little hard to film, reflection on the glass, but very worthwhile your time to stop in if you're in Deer Lodge. So we are outside the Powell County Historical Museum in Deer Lodge, Montana. Got some old mining equipment here. We have a dove there. Probably lives in the prison theater.
Got some drilling bits, some blasting caps.
Gold scale. So this would have been a mining office. You think assay office?
Assay office.
Okay, it's kind of probably hard to see with this glass here, but I understand they want to protect it.
Has been established in honor of the memory of our pioneer grandparents, Lewis and Ellie Blood, and our parents, Charles and Mary Blood, of Ivan, Montana, Avon.
So their collection of buildings here is called Cottonwood City. The original settlement of Deer Lodge, which was incorporated October 20th, 1864. Here we have post office. Dentist. Of course, every settlement needs its church. Hello.
Just fine, how you doing?
Oh, staying warm today.
Yeah, I bet.
Got to make a bracket for a new sign over one of the buildings, so I got a piece welded up. I got to put fancy twisty stuff on it.
There you go.
See, make sure I'm still going the right direction there. Maybe these will show up, but it's going to be hanging up over a building, so I don't think most people will notice it.
Right, there you go.
But
So we were in Deer Lodge on a Friday on our way to the Canadian border. So of course it was pizza night. And you know, we like to try the local brews, hit up a tap house, something like that on a Friday. So we did a little research. And it seemed like the best pizza in town was from the bowling lanes. And we went, stopped in there and verified that yes, they did have pizza. So when we got done in the museums, we went in there, we ordered a pizza, and we headed over to the tap house. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name now. I'll put it on right here. We had a good time. Big selection of beer. But the funny thing was, and I know we shouldn't talk politics, but there was a group in there that had met to talk about some politics and how they were going to handle an upcoming campaign. And the funny thing was that the locals were not necessarily in agreement with what they were doing. So we're kind of rolling our eyes and I guess making some comments to ourselves. And the next thing we know, the couple sitting over next to us at the other table is also kind of like trying to get our attention and rolling their eyes. So that was pretty funny. That's something we're going to remember for a really long time, because we kind of started voicing our opinions. And I think that group started to regret going into a public restaurant like that to have the discussion they were having. It was pretty funny. And then we were kind of sad that we weren't going to be there for the Gopher Days the next morning. But that's what happens. We were traveling, we were moving on, and we missed it. And as always, let's keep rolling.